The afternoon sun began to dip behind the sprawling landscape of Lanford, casting long and weary shadows across the worn pavement of the town. Inside the modest interior of the newly conceptualized restaurant, Jackie stood with a mixture of nervous anticipation and professional pride. The air carried the faint scent of fresh paint and the hope of a new beginning. The bell above the door chimed with a light and melodic sound, announcing the arrival of a visitor who would soon become a pivotal figure in Jackie's professional life. "Hello, Jackie," a confident and warm voice inquired. Jackie turned to see a woman standing in the doorway, radiating an aura of seasoned expertise. "Yeah?" Jackie replied, wiping her hands on her apron and offering a tentative smile. "I am Dawn, from Cook County Meat and Fish." "Hi." The woman introduced herself, extending a hand that suggested years of successful negotiations and firm handshakes. "Oh, thank you so much for coming," Jackie said, feeling a wave of relief wash over her. "You look exactly like I pictured you from all of our extensive phone calls. There is a certain resonance in your voice that matched the person standing before me perfectly." "You are exactly as I imagined, too," Dawn responded, her eyes scanning the room with genuine appreciation. "But weirdly, you sound different in person than you do over the wire. Perhaps it is the acoustics of this charming space." "Oh, I absolutely love what you have done here. You know, a lot of new restaurants try way too hard to be something they are not, but this feels authentic." "Yeah, not us," Jackie said with a self-deprecating chuckle that hid her underlying ambition. "We know exactly what it takes to get the job done, and we pride ourselves on doing just a little bit less than the absolute maximum. We find that the sweet spot of effort lies in efficiency." Dawn laughed, a rich and genuine sound that filled the room. "You are absolutely hilarious. You know that?" "No, I am not." "Am I?" Jackie asked, though a small spark of joy lit up her face. "Yeah, heck yeah," Dawn assured her, pulling a clipboard from her professional bag. "Okay, so I have reviewed your preliminary menu. I will put together a comprehensive order based on our discussion. That way, you can price my services against the other suppliers you are considering. I mean, those thieves. No, I am just kidding. I mean suppliers who happen to steal your margins." The light-hearted atmosphere was briefly interrupted as the back door swung open and Becky stepped in. Looking slightly disheveled and breathing heavily as if she had just completed a sprint through a domestic obstacle course. "Sorry I am late," Becky panted, leaning against a sturdy wooden table. DJ came over to watch the baby, and the little one decided to hit him right in the eye with a heavy plastic rattle. He cried, she cried, and then I cried because I realized I desperately need better childcare options. It was a symphony of tears in my living room. "Becky, meet Dawn from Cook County Meat and Fish," Jackie said, introducing her partner. "She thinks I am hilarious. So we are off to a great start." "Such a pleasure, Becky," Dawn said, her professional mask slipping back into place but remaining friendly. "I have to tell you, I think the concept of comfort food in this specific location is going to be a monumental winner. The community is starving for something that feels like home. The only thing you are missing is a signature big-ticket item to anchor the menu. Steak. You need to offer a truly magnificent steak." "We cannot afford a good steak," Becky replied flatly, the practical weight of their finances pressing down on her. "And I am not just talking about the customers who will look at the price point. I am talking about the people that actually own this restaurant. Our budget is more of a suggestion than a reality at this point." "Becky, Dawn has a fantastic background that we should respect," Jackie interjected, trying to bridge the gap between ambition and reality. She was a primary buyer for a massive restaurant chain before striking out on her own. "I started this company after the managing partner at the Olympic Games made life difficult for me," Dawn shared, her voice carrying a hint of steel. "Can you believe that? The exact same thing happened to me in the stockroom of my previous employment," Jackie said, nodding in solemn solidarity. "It seems the path to independence is often paved with the mistakes of former bosses." "Yep. And look at us now, standing in our own domain," Dawn said. "Well, I am looking at you in those boots." Jackie, and I have to tell you, I absolutely love them. They have a certain rugged elegance. Oh, well, they would look good on your cute little figure, too. Jackie complimented. Oh, no, I could never pull off boots like that. Jackie demurred. Oh, you would not have to. Dawn joked with a mischievous glint in her eye. Your boyfriend would be the one pulling them off. And he certainly would not stop there. Oh, yeah. You better quit it right now, Jackie said, blushing furiously but clearly enjoying the banter. I mean, I do not know. I do not even have a boyfriend to worry about such things. Oh, neither do I, Dawn admitted, her expression softening. But so what? Here is to being our own soulmates. We provide our own happiness. Amen to that, Jackie said, raising an invisible glass. Yes, we love ourselves. Even if men do not seem to realize what they are missing. Can we please get back to the logistical reality of the food? Becky asked, trying to steer the ship back to the shore. Let us talk about the actual prices. Okay, Dawn said, becoming the professional supplier once again. Well, this has been an absolute delight. I will compile a list of what I think you need to succeed, and I will send you an itemized estimate by tomorrow morning. Au revoir. That is French for goodbye. Goodbye, Jackie said, waving as Dawn exited the building. I know. Everybody knows that one. As the door closed, Becky turned to Jackie with a skeptical eyebrow raised. And before you fall completely in love with her and her boots, we should probably discuss whether we can actually afford her expertise. I love her, Jackie insisted, staring at the door. I am not in love with her, but she represents a level of cool that I have been searching for my entire life. She is my new professional North Star. Meanwhile, at the Connor residence, the sound of a heavy groan echoed through the hallway. Dan Connor was sprawled out on the floor, his face twisted in a grimace of sudden and sharp pain. Oh, my God. What happened? Becky asked as she rushed through the door and saw her father in distress. He tweaked his back while trying to nail a loose floorboard in the hallway. Mark explained, hovering over Dan with a look of helpless concern. I am fine, Dan wheezed, his voice strained. I just have to soak it in some hot water and then lay down for approximately 3 days. Or perhaps a week. No. You need to see a medical professional, Becky insisted. I am going to take you to the urgent care clinic right now. It is just a temporary twinge, Dan said, attempting to push himself up and immediately collapsing back onto the rug with a yelp. I am fine. Ow. I feel good. Dan began to sing through gritted teeth, trying to use humor to mask the agony. I knew that I would. Whoa. I feel nice. I am sugar and spice. The family watched as Dan tried to maintain his dignity while being completely immobilized by a single muscle spasm. It was a classic Connor moment, where strength and stubbornness collided in a spectacular display of domestic comedy. A few hours later, the house had settled into a quiet rhythm. Harris walked in, clutching a crisp white envelope in her hand. Her face was a mask of careful neutrality, but her eyes betrayed a flicker of something significant. Harris got a letter from Central Illinois State, Darlene announced, looking up from the kitchen table. The college or the penitentiary? Dan asked from his recliner, where he was currently draped in ice packs. Congratulations. You are officially a mud turtle, Darlene said, her voice filled with a rare and genuine pride. Oh, my God. She got in. That is truly great news. Finally, someone from this family has made it into a legitimate institution of higher learning. Hey, I went to college, Jackie argued from the sofa. You went to art school? Jackie, Darlene countered. That is basically a place where you pay to color and they give you a library card. How much is this academic endeavor going to cost us? Dan asked, the practical reality of the situation always being his primary concern. I do not know the exact figures yet, Darlene admitted. But now that I am a divorced, unemployed single mother with no visible assets, we might actually have a legitimate shot at some significant financial aid. My lifelong plan to systematically destroy my financial life is finally starting to pay off. I told you to stick with your plan. Jackie joked. You know what? Harris asked me to bring some clothes over to Odessa's place. So I am going to take them over there right now and show this letter to her. I want her to see that there is a way out of here. She is finally going to let you know the truth about the situation. Is she not? Dan asked. At least now I have a legitimate shot at getting her out of that environment and into a dorm room. Darlene said, grabbing her coat. There are no drugs in dorm rooms. Just excessive amounts of coffee and sleep deprivation. Darlene arrived at the apartment complex where Odessa lived. The hallway smelled of old cabbage and broken dreams. She knocked on the door, and a young man with bloodshot eyes and a bewildered expression answered. Hello. Odessa. Harris is expecting me, Darlene said, trying to sound authoritative. Before you reach the other side. You see, the young man said, leaning against the doorframe. Answer me these questions 3. I believe somebody just smoked a large bowl while watching Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Darlene observed, stepping past him into the hazy apartment. Correct. You may pass, the man whispered, closing the door behind her. Not exactly what you expected. Huh? Harris asked, appearing from a side room. We usually save the human sacrifices for the bedroom. Hey, Mom. Guess what? Darlene said, ignoring the sarcasm and thrusting the letter forward. You are officially a mud turtle. I have not even put on my makeup yet. Give me a break with the nicknames. Harris joked, though she took the letter with a trembling hand. No. You got into college. Central Illinois State. They have an official tour scheduled for this Friday. Yeah. I am not going to that. Harris said, her voice suddenly flat as she tossed the letter onto a nearby table. What? Why on earth not? Darlene asked, her heart sinking. I start working at Price Warehouse next Monday. Harris explained, her jaw set in a firm line. They have a comprehensive program for employees to earn a business degree online. It is practical. It is paid for. And it makes sense for someone in my position. Well, I do not want you to go to school in a virtual environment. Darlene said, I want you to have the real experience. It is a phenomenal deal. Mom, it only costs $350 a year out of my pocket. Harris argued. Yeah, but I want you to live in a crowded dorm and gain 15 pounds and catch mononucleosis like a normal teenager. Darlene said, that is for rich kids with safety nets. We do not have the money for traditional college. Actually, we already have an official appointment with the financial aid office. Darlene insisted. They want to help us navigate this. And look at the letter. It says they look forward to meeting you personally. Nobody ever looks forward to meeting you. Harris scoffed. We know they write that to everyone on the mailing list. No, they do not, Darlene said firmly. This is written directly to you, Miss Harris Conner. And why do you want a business degree anyway? You should be studying writing. You remember when the local newspaper printed your article about how much you hate Lanford and the entire community was enraged? That is the happiest I have ever seen you. You were glowing with the power of your own words. Yeah. The mayor called me a public embarrassment to the community. Harris remembered with a small, genuine smile. Of course that made me feel good. It was my finest hour. Okay. I will go on the tour. Harris relented. But I am doing it for you. Not for me. Mud turtles. Jackie cheered when she heard the news later that evening. A mud turtle is arguably the worst mascot in the history of sports. What is the official cheer? Go fight. Do something. Mud turtle. The following morning at the restaurant, Becky was looking over a stack of invoices with an expression of pure, unadulterated dread. Instead of a simple estimate. We received a massive bill from your new best friend Dawn, Becky said to Jackie, tapping the paper with her pen. Which is incredibly weird because I do not actually remember us hiring her as our official supplier yet. She made a very compelling case for her company over lunch yesterday. So I decided to go for it. Jackie admitted, avoiding Becky's eyes. So now major financial decisions are being made without my input over a casual lunch? Becky asked, her voice rising in frustration. Well, we were extremely hungry after our morning wine and painting class. Jackie explained, I am learning so much about my artistic soul these days. I always knew I could drink, but I had no idea I could paint such evocative landscapes. This bill is twice what we agreed we could afford for the initial launch. Becky pointed out, showing Jackie the totals. Look at what she is charging us for these vegetables. They are all locally sourced and handpicked. Jackie defended, I do not care if they are locally sourced. Becky snapped, I only care if they are locally eaten by people who can afford them. And she went ahead and put the premium steak on the order. 2. We specifically said no steak until we were stable. Dawn showed me that with a significantly upgraded menu, we could attract people from as far away as the city of Chicago. Jackie said, you are right, Jackie. Because clearly, you cannot get a good steak in a world-class city like Chicago. Becky said sarcastically, you definitely have to drive an hour to a roadside diner in a struggling town that bought their steak from a distributor in Chicago in the first place. I am sorry that you do not trust Dawn, but I have chosen to place my faith in her. Jackie said stubbornly. Jackie. Okay. I might be wrong about her. But Dawn is a professional saleswoman. Is it not possible that she is pretending to be your friend simply to ratchet up the bill and hit her quarterly targets? I am afraid she might be taking advantage of your good nature and your desire for connection. Au contraire, Jackie said, using her new favorite French phrase. I am actually taking advantage of her by being her friend and picking her brain for free industry secrets. It is a strategic alliance. Au contraire? Now you are talking just like her. I have never heard you say that phrase in your entire life. Becky noted. Au contraire. I said it just a second ago. Jackie yelled, her frustration boiling over. Dawn likes me for who I am. She even invited me to the Rockford Wine Festival this weekend. Well, okay, Becky said, testing the strength of this new friendship. If she is truly your friend, maybe you should cut the order in half today and see if she still wants to spend her Saturday at a wine festival with you. Oh, she will still want me to go, Jackie said confidently. It is a fait accompli. On Friday, Darlene and Harris arrived at the campus of Central Illinois State. The sun was shining on the old brick buildings, and the air was filled with the sound of students rushing to their classes. It felt like a world of endless possibilities, a world far removed from the daily struggles of Lanford. Okay, your counselor will be right in to see you, the receptionist said with a bright, robotic smile. See you around campus. Harris. Oh, he is quite cute, Harris noted, watching a young man walk by with a backpack. Why would I date a student when there are tenured professors here with actual dental plans? Darlene joked, trying to keep the mood light. Hi, I am Helen. I am here to help you navigate the complexities of your financial aid package, a woman said, entering the small office. She had a kind face, but a professional demeanor that suggested she dealt with a lot of disappointment. So, Harris, what did you think of our campus? Helen asked. It was cool, Harris admitted. I like that the student newspaper actually investigates real issues. And it is far away enough from my house that my mom cannot visit me on a sudden whim. Well, Harris, we thought your admissions packet was really something special, Helen said. Your essay about your hometown was incredibly spot on. I am actually from that area myself, so I felt every word. Thanks. I am glad you liked it, Harris said, her eyes lighting up with a rare moment of academic validation. Along with showing you that Harris is special, our application should have also shown you that we are super poor, Darlene added, leaning forward. We are like Dust Bowl era poor. We are looking at a very empty bank account here. That is exactly why we put together a comprehensive aid package to try and make this happen for you, Helen said, handing over a folder filled with documents. Sweet, Harris said, opening the folder. Okay, let us see. Loan, loan, and another loan. Where are all the grants and scholarships? You know, the free money that everyone talks about. Well, I am sure you folks expected that you would be contributing something to the cost of the education, Helen said gently. Yeah, we expected to contribute something, Darlene said. But you have us paying for essentially everything. And with interest rates that look like they were designed by a predatory lender. I mean, we simply cannot afford this reality. According to this projection chart, it will take me 20 years to pay back these loans, Harris noted, her face falling as the dream began to dissolve. 20 years goes by faster than you think, Darlene said, trying to be encouraging but failing miserably. You can waste that much time on a man everybody said was wrong for you. But you knew better at the time. I am confused, Harris said. I mean, the letter you sent us practically promised to help us. It made it sound like the school wanted me here. I want to help. I truly do, Helen said. Does Harris have a unique skill that might qualify her for a specialized scholarship? A female tuba player is a college admissions home run every single time. We are desperate for brass instruments. Do you play the tuba, Harris? Darlene asked, hopeful for a split second. No, Darlene. This is a complete waste of my time. I should never have come here, Harris said, standing up and grabbing her bag. No, Harris. Wait. We are still in the middle of a discussion, Darlene said. I am done. Darlene. I felt good about my plan for Price Warehouse. And then I let you drag me here and show me everything that I can't have. Thanks a lot for the reminder of what we lack. You know what? This whole thing is a scam, Darlene said to Helen, her own anger rising to match her daughter's. You just bring people down here, get their hopes up, and then try to trick them into crippling loans they will be paying back for the rest of their natural lives. You should be ashamed of yourself for being the face of this system. You know, I want my $100 application fee back right now. I am sorry. We simply cannot do that. It is a non-refundable administrative fee, Helen said firmly. Well, that check was never going to clear the bank anyway, Darlene yelled as they stormed out of the office. Good day to you. Back at the Connor house, Dan was still recovering from his back injury. He was currently submerged in a bathtub filled with warm water and an alarming amount of iridescent bubbles. The door creaked open, and Chuck walked in, looking for his friend. Dan, Chuck called out. Yeah? Dan replied from behind the shower curtain. I heard you hurt your back. So I came by to check on your status. Chuck said. Mark said you have been in there for a couple of hours. You okay? I cannot physically pull myself out of the tub, Dan admitted, his voice echoing against the bathroom tiles. My back has locked into a permanent 90-degree angle. You are going to get sick if you stay in there too long. Dan, I am coming in to assist you, Chuck said. Oh. Geez. Okay. Give me a second to cover up with some of these bubbles. Would you? Dan said, splashing frantically. Chuck walked in and stopped dead. Rainbow bubbles? I did not picture you as a bath